Okay, great. And as we wait for attendees to join, we're very much looking forward to this first industry snapshot of, well, of the second half of the year, should I say. We're practically in Q4 now, so a really busy time for everyone. And as you all begin to join right now, we are recording this session, first to say, so that you can watch back, but also that you will be able to share with your teams. And we do encourage you to do so to ensure that all the insights and the great learnings are passed on and you benefit from them. And as we wait for people to join, I just wanted to give some reminders of some further events we have coming up very soon. Firstly, we have our webinar, Digital Marketing Tactics for Retailers to Get Ahead in Q4, all about maximizing Black Friday festive season. And that is from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. on October 23rd. If you haven't signed up for it, please do. And then our face-to-face, not to be missed industry conference, IB Connect H2, will take place this time on December 4th. And we really have an amazing agenda. We're delighted to have Dr. Daniel Knapp from IAB Europe really provide our keynote. Where are we now in terms of digital advertising, opportunities and challenges? Our theme is fueling the next wave of growth. There's nobody better than Daniel Knapp to share on that. We're also going to have a report on retail media in Ireland. We're going to have a great session on AI and digital creativity. We're going to look at attention and the great driver that attention is for advertisers, looking at publishers and quality content. We're also going to look at sustainability, and there are the kind of key areas that we're focusing on. So again, reminding you to book your tickets right now. And indeed, for all of you that have advertiser clients, all brands attend for free. And for those of you who have advertiser clients, please do invite them and ensure that they come along. It's going to be a jam-packed afternoon session, or morning session, should I say, and then in the afternoon you'll go back to your offices and you'll have time to have lunch and everything in the Radisson Blue in Golden Lane. But today is about looking now at brand safety and suitability, and from the point of view that it's not just about avoiding risks, it's about unlocking performance. I'm really delighted to hand over to Paulina Stankiewicz, Director of Client Solutions, EMEA at Channel Factory. And Channel Factory works with digitized new media in our market. Many of you will be very familiar with Mike Sleeman, and he would be one of the key points of contacts in digitize, and Mike is joining us here now. So handing over to you, Paulina, and we'll take some questions afterwards. So please do put any questions in the Q&A box. And thanks again, Paulina.
Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you for the lovely intro. And thank you all for connecting with me on this webinar. It feels very fitting to be talking about policy and regulation here with the IAB, because, you know, as you all know, this community has been at the front lines of setting the standards which a lot of us rely on. And yet the pace of change from AI to regulatory reform means that even the most prepared of us are often playing catch up. So today I'll take you through how brand safety and suitability has changed over time and why these shifts are mattering now more than ever. We'll look at what's driving this change, what the risks and rewards are, and how we can move from reacting to leading. So by the end of this presentation, I hope that you'll walk away with a clear understanding of how to navigate these complexities, of which there are many, and be equipped with tools to build brand safe strategies that actually perform. So looking at how brand safety and suitability has evolved over the last 7 years, the IAB was instrumental in helping define our first generation standards around things like keyword and publisher exclusions, which we heavily relied on. And the execution used to be quite simple. Steer clear of things like news disasters, terrorist content, anything deemed unsavory or risque for your brand. But today the landscape has completely changed. We're all of a sudden navigating things like political landmines, fake news, and misinformation, and all the while wondering whether our Domino's ad can legally appear on TikTok with the changing HFSS regulations. So really the conversation has matured towards context, alignment, and accountability, because those risks that I just mentioned, they're not just hypothetical. Most of us still remember the adpocalypse, when brand safety first hit the mainstream and suddenly everyone in this industry learned very quickly what keyword exclusion really meant. And here are some real world examples where brands faced serious fallout. So you'll remember that these instances, they weren't rare, they were global. They triggered major news headlines with big advertising boycotts following suit. And the consequence of all of this was damaged trust between brands, platforms, and consumers. So to combat this, we brought in a checklist. And I come from an agency background, so I remember around this time I was working at Havas on a major telco brand. And we, of course, had all of the, brand safety checklist applied, as you can see here, keyword exclusions, etc. But we, had to go one step ahead, and we even had a WhatsApp emergency group where if the brand got in touch with us, if the clients got in touch and said, we need to kill all advertising because we don't want to be around any negative press right now, we would have to, at any hour of the day, go in and apply the kill switch, so to speak. In this example, I'm sure it's not uncommon. It was reactive, overly precautionary. It was, we were relying on an ever-growing negative keyword list built around being in the press, fear of being in the press for all the wrong reasons. And the platform settings which we had to our disposal were realistically very black box. If your brand was willing to pay a bit extra, you could apply post-bid verification solutions. But really, if you think about that, it's the same as police and forensics showing up after a crime had already been done. So really, you want something to remove that and prevent that from happening before your ads appear. And we intrinsically, as advertisers, know that being around the wrong content is damaging. But did you know that almost 2/3 of UK consumers would stop using a product or service if its ad appeared around inappropriate content? That's huge. And it shows that consumers are paying attention and they're holding brands accountable. But one could argue this is just an opinion-based stat. So let's not just rely on an opinion survey based on gut feelings, but instead look at proven results verified by a third party. So here you'll see the results of a study that we ran in partnership with Analect, which is Omnicom's research arm, to really show the benefit of running brand suitability. And here you'll see that we took data from general online video activity, ones that were run via web publishers, broadcast VODs, so broadcasters, and then compared it to YouTube activity that had Channel Factory brand suitability tech applied. And the results are great. I mean, ads within contextually aligned content drove 82% more ROAS than online video alone, which shows the benefit of appearing in contextually aligned and brand suitable environments. So I hear you ask, how do we get there? Really, we need to start, we need to start looking at a proactive strategy. So instead of considering things like damage limitation, focusing on a forward planning pre-bid approach that leverages the right tech and solutions. And what I mean by that is you leveraging AI-powered intelligence to detect threats before they happen, driving positive association to increase brand purpose, navigating privacy laws and political advertising restrictions to ensure regulatory compliance, going beyond blunt keyword lists that that don't capture sentiment and instead capture tone, nuance, and meaning, and making sure that we're being inclusive all the while. So positive representation that doesn't unintentionally alienate any demographic or group. And this can be all measured and verified via outcomes such as ROAS, attention, incremental reach, carbon emission, depending on what's important for your brand. And through this, you can really drive tangible impact. But unfortunately, the best intentions are not always enough, and the rules can change overnight. So content that's safe and popular today might be flagged tomorrow due to shifting policies. And we've seen some real world examples of this recently with LGBTQ plus creators having their content deprioritized on social platforms, for example, not because they were breaking any rules, but because the rules changed. And even though something as important as inclusivity was the goal, policy blind spots unfortunately created unintended harm. So this is an example of why it's crucial to stay hyper aware and be ready to course correct when faced with things like platform changes, such as the dialing down of fact checking, which we've seen on social platforms, governing bodies responding with broad reaching online safety regulations that are often quite difficult to follow or opaque in meaning to a lot of us. And we even have some new curveballs coming soon with the implementation of HFSS regulation across digital media, and also the European AI Act, for which we have yet to see what impact this has on our industry. So how do we manage this? By building flexible long-term strategies that are grounded in positive brand values and prioritize safety and suitability from the start, and not as a footnote to your campaigns. Because it's not just fines or reputational damage that could occur. You could massively disrupt your marketing campaign and cause budgets to be wasted. So imagine you're a new pizza chain that's trying to bring your delicious pizza to the nation. You've got your plan signed off, your creative media and influencers all locked in, only to, at the 11th hour, find you have to make big, costly changes before going live. And you might be thinking, well, Paulina, I mean, a pizza brand, surely they're aware of HFSS regulations. But actually, these teams still trip up because the rules are complex and easy to misjudge in a lot of cases. There's multiple teams working in silos and moving quickly. And there's a lot of gray areas and false confidence around this particular topic. All of which means that making expensive and time-consuming mistakes is more likely. But the good news is creativity thrives within constraints. And what I mean by this in practice is you can easily avoid the pitfalls mentioned on the previous slide by aligning yourself with the right creators and influencers, reframing your creative for HFSS compliance to be completely above board and make sure you're not taking any risks, or even working smarter within contextually safe environments. And an example of this is a case study of a brand, of FMCG brand, which we work very closely with. And through our tech, we created them a scalable and HFSS compliant channel list to run on YouTube, which drove really great results, as you can see. A 67% increase in unique users and also an increase in view rate, which was their KPI for the campaign, primary KPI. So as you can see, being more targeted and contextually relevant doesn't compromise scale and can even improve results. But it's not just about regulation. Shifting politics are reshaping the way that audiences engage online. and not adapting can be really risky for your brand by not having the right safeguards in place. So using Channel Factory's proprietary platform that analyzes YouTube channels and videos globally every 4 hours to accurately recategorize and label content based on IAB categories. We had a look at the last 30 days and what we could see in our platform in the news and politics category. And over 500,000 YouTube videos were flagged as low suitability in the UK. And, you know, brands and advertisers will have different standards for what suitability means for them. So what's suitable for one brand might not be suitable for another. But the problem is, if you don't have the right tech in place, you could be a car brand that features next to dramatic time-lapse footage of a car being engulfed by lava in Hawaii. Not great. Or an eco-friendly cleaning product next to an eco-protester being knocked over by a car. A women's lifestyle brand that appears next to Russell Brand's content, an interview with him, or even a tourism ad that gets served before a man being hit by a bull in Spain. And what's important to note here is that all of these videos were from credible news outlets. And these are videos that would have likely passed when just using platform categorization and suitability settings that come as standard, or only flagged as problematic by your post-verification provider after the ad was served. There we go. So in summation, I wanted to leave you with a kind of visual metaphor. Regulation, polarization, and the fragmentation of platforms, audiences, and content have created a fractured media landscape. I'm sure all of us would agree and have experienced this firsthand. But you know, brands are still being tasked by showing up clearly and consistently within environments that reflect them. But we need to make sure that we're not harming ourselves and losing attention and trust along the way. So, not all doom and gloom. I want to leave you with a point around getting intentional. It's time to not just avoid the bad stuff, but proactively seek the good stuff. Because in 2025, brand safety and suitability, it's not just a line on your media plan. It's the line between relevance and irrelevance, between trust and risk, and between big wins for your brand or being remembered for all the wrong reasons. So drum roll, please. I want to present to you the brand suitability survival kit for 2025. And within this, you'll find a lie detector, because using both human and AI judgment needs to happen. We can't just be relying on AI and algorithms. We still need common sense. Sneakers to ensure we stay agile as platforms and policies shift. A moral compass to really hone in on what your brand stands for instead of just chasing cheap impressions and reach. Collaboration badge, because we can't win alone. We need teams, tech, platforms, agencies all working together to succeed and create a positive impact on our industry. And with all of these, I firmly believe that this toolkit will help you drive positive outcomes for your brand. Because brand safety and suitability is the new measure of success, and brands that lean into this with consistency and conscience will be rewarded with results that truly matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Paulina. Looking at the Q&A, and I don't see a question, but we have some thoughts in terms of your best practice that you've shared there. I mean, clearly Channel Factory is working very closely with clients. And so, you know, from your conversations, what are they asking for, and what new solutions have you developed based on those asks?
Sure. We have a lot in the pipeline and a lot of exciting things that we've brought to market this year. some of which, and I know Mike's been speaking to a lot of you about these in market as well. We have a fit for TV solution, for example, that is looking at leveraging broadcaster content on YouTube alongside professionally produced content as well. That's sort of fit for TV. Packaging that up and allowing brands to extend their reach on CTV by buying these packages from us. We also have a cost per lead solution that we're activating on social, especially for the automotive brands, and that comes with lead verification on top of that as well. And speaking of social, we're doing a lot of work in terms of social, in terms of suitability on Meta, and really extending our reach to other walled gardens that are not just YouTube, but also include social as well. As we know, those are difficult to navigate in these times and have a lot of user-generated content that isn't necessarily suitable for a lot of brands. So we're really excited to be extending into that space as well.
So actually, I just have seen a question which is quasi-related, and maybe you've semi-answered it, but I'm just going to read it anyway. So how do you filter out individual videos that may not be suitable when the overarching, sorry, channel may be a good fit for my brand?
So we have our data solutions team within Channel Factory are very good at going to a granular level in terms of suitable, non-suitable videos. So it really depends on the client. If they want to exclude a certain channel or a video, we're able to do that with our tech. We can also provide recommendations on what good looks like in terms of their sort of suitability standards. And equally, we work with, for example, insurance brands that are very heavily regulated and, of course, want full control over where they appear. So we even send them the channel lists beforehand so they can handpick which channels and videos they appear against.
Okay. And final question for now, unless some more pop in. So, you've spoken about the fast changing environment. The digital landscape is, it's never not going to be fast changing. And particularly with regulation coming, from Europe and indeed at home. How does your tech evolve to meet the challenges of this fast changing environment?
Sure. Our tech is constantly being worked on, as you can appreciate from a product perspective, and we're looking at improved image recognition, even down to the thumbnail. We're also looking at how we combat how we detect AI generated videos, because those are, as we've as we've all seen, I'm sure, becoming more and more persistent on YouTube, on social media. So really looking at how we can employ tech to scan that and understand that as well, and make sure that we're not around anything that a brand wants to appear against from an AI perspective too. We're also looking at increasing the different kind of touch points and the different things that we're analyzing. So it's not just a question of one or the other. We're doing image recognition plus descriptions plus looking at subscriber count, looking at things like human vetting as well. We do a lot of human vetting. So it's really applying all those different elements to ensure that we're catching everything as the landscape evolves and changes.
Great, fantastic. And we have recorded this session. And obviously you've given your details as well, should any of our attendees or their teams have further questions. So we'll pass all of that on. I'd like to leave everyone with reminders again of our two other forthcoming great events. Firstly, for retailers with Retail Ireland, which is on the 23rd, and we'll really be looking at Black Friday and that big push into Q4 and even into early next year in terms of driving all those great sales. and how digital advertising can fuel that. And then Connect, which is going to be a jam-packed half-day morning session in the Radisson Blu on December 4th. We actually will, we are anticipating a very full attendee list for that. So we will be saying, please do book early, because it is likely on this occasion we may need to close off bookings just because of size of venue and all of that. And the content is really very pertinent. As I mentioned, we'll be looking at really the digital landscape with Daniel Knapp. Very timely time to look at this towards the end of the year into 2026. We'll be looking at AI, we'll be looking at retail media, we'll be looking at CTV, we'll be looking at attention and the power of attention. And Paulina's mentioned and referenced that earlier as well, in terms of the great engagement across quality content and other media. And we'll also be looking at sustainability. So it's going to be a great session. We look forward to seeing everybody there, and indeed on the next forthcoming webinar. A big thank you to Paulina and the Channel Factory team, and indeed to Digitize. And we look forward to seeing you on the next occasion. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thanks
much,
for joining.
Suzanne. Thank
Thank
you.
you
Thank
very
you for the
much.
opportunity. Take care, everyone.
You're very welcome.
Bye.
Bye.